What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Chopping It Up with P. I'm your host, Pierre, and today, um, it's my first solo episode. Um, Not, because there's no guest or anything. Well, there isn't. But I feel as if some of these episodes are like just more time for us to talk and stuff like that. So yeah. I want to talk about a couple different things today. This one main topic I had in mind. Um, just maybe just life in general and figuring things out, because um deep down in our hearts, we are very young. We are very young, and for those of us who are young, we're trying to figure a lot out while balancing family, friends, relationships, stuff of that sort. So nobody knows what they're doing. Okay. Um Everyone looks like they have life figured out until you talk to them for 5 minutes. And what I mean by this is like I've we've been in class and or just stuff like that in general where you're talking where you get to talk to someone or like have a little conversation with someone. And it's like, maybe it's someone don't know. It looks, maybe someone you just met who looks like they have their life all together. You talk to them for 5 minutes and it's like, huh? It's like, bro, what happened to the things I assumed, what I'm saying, that you was because you have this, and that, you know. First of all, I think social media makes everyone look stable and successful, even though sometimes it might be the case, sometimes it might not, because, it's for clicks or it's for likes or it's for this and that, you know. I think all of that comes into like this thing inside of our minds where it's like sometimes you want to be like that. You want to be like when you're like going on trips and vacations and stuff. You're putting that at the forefront. You're saying, "Oh, I'm in Bali, or I'm at the Bahamas and stuff like that." You know, Social media has a good way of spinning it, meaning like, "Oh, damn, he's made it in life," or "Damn, you know, he's not living paycheck to paycheck." But truly, that's not really the case. Um, People your age acting confident but feeling lost is a big thing. Seen it a lot, especially in college. You know, um, we all talk like we talk. We all do what we do. You know what I'm saying? Your persona is your persona, and I feel as if like, especially now where we are, like where I am right now in college, we all talk the talk, but we don't walk the walk a lot. You know, we act confident because, you want to be confident. You know what I'm saying? That's why you put in the work for yourself. It's not for anyone else but yourself, which is great. But, a lot of times in the back of our minds, a lot of things are going on, thinking about life, thinking about family, friends, this and that, how you're going to be a better person, stuff like that. So, you act confident all the time, but that's not the case. You know what I'm saying? And you do feel lost. Sometimes you feel like you don't have the answers right now. So it's okay not to have the answers right now because you're still growing as a person. You'll never stop growing as a person. That's first of all. But even as of right now, it's especially when you're still so young and you don't, have the experience and capabilities to like understand what's really going on sometimes and how to move about things. That's okay. You know, that's really is okay. Um, I think that one of the biggest things is like you have to realize that like even successful people feel unsure. Top, top of the best people in this life feel unsure. And I feel that's true because once you look at a lot of these things, right? I'm not saying put yourself in their shoes, but I guess in a way, like you're a human just like they are, right? You do the things you do, you kind of have the same needs as them in a human aspect, not when it comes to materialistic stuff, you know, but it's things that y'all do have in common, what I'm saying? And that's your emotions, that's your family and stuff like that. Stuff that was given to you by God, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I feel like being unsure is just it's not wrong. It's not like, you know, like unsure is okay because it proves that you are growing and it proves that you want to figure out the answers and stuff like that, you know. Um Looking like you have it together, you know, and having it together are two very different things, you know. That's why a lot of times you see these quotes about don't like first of all be yourself, but also don't, you know, break the bank, you know what I'm saying, trying to impress this and that, because at the end of the day, you're breaking the bank for that's all you got. You know what I'm saying? When those people are done being impressed for 2 seconds, what do you go back to? You know what I'm saying? So it just goes back to yourself. You know what I'm saying? People that look like they have it all together. Sometimes they really motherfuckers, athletes, celebrities, even them motherfuckers don't have it all together. Looks like they do. They got the bread, they got girls, they got this, they got the guys, whatever the case is. You know, they get invited to all these things. But let's look at Lil Papa for a second. You know what I'm saying? Lil Papa just died a couple of days ago. They said it was depression. He killed himself. You know what I'm saying? He was a rapper. He had money, clout, celebrity. Why you still kill yourself? We look at a lot of these stars. We can even bring it back to Whitney Houston and stuff like that. You have all the stuff in the world that are your disposal, and you're still finding a way to be unhappy. You know what I'm saying? It's not them finding a way. That's what I'm trying to realize. It's not them finding a way. That's just life. You can have everything you want in this world, but if you don't have God and you don't have family and a support system, as long as you have God in the first place, you know what I'm saying? It's all gonna crumble down, you know. That's why a lot of these celebrities and stuff find drugs. You got the drugs, you got the pot, you got the ecstasy and stuff like that. They're popping pills every single day to keep up with that they gotta keep up with. You know what I'm saying? So and obviously that comes back to haunt them. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to sit here and say that, like, you know, what they're going through isn't hard, you know, being in the public eye and not being to live a life like any normal other person or normal human being. No. What I'm saying is they are at that stage, you know what I'm saying? But to keep being irrelevant at that stage, it comes with a cost. You know what I'm saying? Now, as a human being, you got to make that decision. Is that cost drugs, or is that cost God and finding the things that you're happy about in life? Because again, you can have all the money in the world and still have a big hole in your life that needs filling. That makes sense. Pause. You know, so kind of want to move on for a little bit. Nobody taught us how to be adults besides our parents. Let me explain this, because our parents gave us as much knowledge as they could. Even till now, they're giving us knowledge. You know what I'm saying? They can only give us that knowledge. We have to apply it. That's where it becomes the thing. A lot of motherfuckers get the knowledge from their parents. I like, bro, even me, like, you know, my parents talk to me and be like, "What she talking about? What are you talking about?" You know what I'm saying? We all have that. Don't sit here and try and say, "Ah, it's only me." You got that too. It's like, what are you talking about? No, come on. You know what I'm saying? Like we kind of we get to that point where it's like, what are you talking about? What you talking about? But it's like they've been through shit. At the end of the day, we gotta listen to them because they've been through the shit. And we guys gotta do better because they're telling us to do better. That's why they're giving us that information. You know what I'm saying? Um, but it's even when it comes to like not just college but high school as well. When you're growing up, you know, you're going to fuck up time and time again. Don't sit there and be like, why me? This and that. No, this is part of your plan. This is part of God's plan. This is part of, you know, just you growing within yourself. So instead of just kicking down and being like, why me? Why this and that? You know, that's growth. Every single time that is growth. That is growth. You know what I'm saying? Is a bitch. It's a lot of ins and outs. It's life. Move on. Work. Keep doing what you gotta do for yourself every single day. You know what I'm saying? You know, we're all guessing. I think even in college, more like career wise, you see a lot of people changing their majors, sometimes early, sometimes late, because we're all still trying to figure out what we want to do in this life. You know what I'm saying? And it's like no one has it figured out. That comes to career, whatever you want to do in this life. That's dating, that's money, that's purpose. You know what I'm saying? A lot of things change every single day. We're all guessing. Not saying we're all guessing like I'm guessing this, I'm guessing that, but like, we have a certain thing and sometimes it does get deviated. You know what I'm saying? With dating, your mindset and thought process you had going into probably, whatever it was is not the same as your thought process that you have now that you've grown and matured and gone through shit. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with money. You used to blow all this bread because you was with mom and dad every day. Now you're not because you saving, you growing. You know what I'm saying? You've understood, okay, need to lock in. This is that. You know what I'm saying? Life is constantly evolving. We're constantly being challenged. We're constantly being put at the epitome of stuff. Can't look at that as in like, fuck, again, this. No, no. You can't look at it like that. You gotta look at it as like, that's movement. That's growth, you know, and that's life. We can talk about purpose for a second. You know, purpose you thought you once had could be deviated, even though you could have had it for like 5 years, dude. Probably thought your purpose was to be like a rapper in this life. Things happen. Maybe your purpose was to be a math teacher or a preacher. You know what I'm saying? Things happen and we adjust to them. Things happen and then we, kind of deviate and form a better self every single time they happen. You know what I'm saying? We're all learning by trial and error. You're not fucking up. You're not taking enough risk. You're not fucking up. You're not doing what you're supposed to do. Because that's what you're in this right now to do. You're in life to be the best version of yourself. You're in this life that God gave you to, be the best version that you can be, you know? So if you're not actively taking risks, oh, let me try to go for that job. Oh, let me do this, let me do that. You're not constantly growing. And sometimes you feel like you are left behind because people are, constantly growing, but you're not. But it's not that. Sometimes it's just not your timing. Sometimes it's just not for you. God is trying to tell you that's not for you. You know what I'm saying? It just really depends on what's going on. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes a lot of things that we do, if there's no trial and error, we'll never learn. We'll be stuck in this space where it's like, why is it like this? Why is it like that? But you're not actively going out there and trying to figure that out. That makes sense? You know, adulthood, I literally like, I swear adulthood is crazy because it's really not like as you grow that you learn these things, but it's like, it's in the experiences. I'm telling y'all, it's in the experiences. The side quests in any life, just not young but old. The side quests, I'm telling you, the side quests, the late night talks and everything. I'm telling y'all wake up, you're like, it's like 12 a.m., dude. You're like in college, you're in college, you're like, I'm gonna get some grubs. Let me see if the boys are up. Demand them. Or, your homegirls. Text, yo, get some grubs. Let's do this, let's do that. You know what I'm saying? All these little stuff happen between that side quest and between those things. You learn, you're like, damn, this is how I view things now. This is how I'm doing things now. You know what I'm saying? You view all these little parts of your life, even from when you were growing up, when you were a kid. You know what I'm saying? Something that you didn't understand back then makes sense now that you've like connected the dots, and that's okay. That's how God wanted you to understand it. Not at this time, not the time that you wanted to, but at God's time. You know what I'm saying? So you like not figuring out these things, that's cool. You just gotta always think about what's next and like always just prioritize what you're doing in your growth. I swear, I don't know who told me this. I swear I don't know who told me this, but there was a conversation I had. Maybe it was in class or something. Fucker said, adulthood is literally just making decisions and praying they don't ruin your life. I'll say that again. Adulthood is literally making decisions and praying they don't ruin your life. at the time when he said it was funny because we were all just joking and laughing and stuff. But it's like when you look at it really in between yourself, you're like, he's not wrong. He didn't say anything crazy. He didn't say anything stupid. He's not wrong. He's not wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta really think about that one. But it's true because you make these decisions again. That goes back to what you're doing, like what you're doing every day. You make these decisions and you pray it over in your life. Okay, but if they do, get back up, make a different decision next time because you learn from it. You know what I'm saying? We don't ever know what we're doing. We're just trying to figure it out. Again, the people at the top of the top don't have it figured out, bro. They don't. Life is not mastered ever because you're not God. So take those experiences, take those shots, do this and do that. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna get there with repetition and like just you growing. Feeling behind compared to others. Now, this is a big one, I feel like, because especially when we come into college, you want to have a sense of where you're going. I think that's just in life. You want to have a sense of where you're growing, of where you're going. You want to have these, and you want to have these check boxes and these timelines for yourself. It's realistic enough to the point where like you're setting them, but it's realistic enough in the plan that's for you. You know what I'm saying? Because things do change. Those realistic, what the hell? Those realistic things that you put down are probably not going to be the same realistic things that you think might happen in the next 2 months or whatever you set them for. You know what I'm saying? So, especially now in a critical part of your life where, you're doing your most growing, feeling behind compared to others is normal. I swear it's normal. It's a normal feeling. It's not normal, but it's not normal. It's a normal feeling because you feel like, okay, why is this happening for them and not me? You know what I'm saying? Is this like this for them and not for me? Right? But you got to think about it like, what have they gone through? Right? What have they done? What positions were they in? What positions did they take for them to be in that position, for them to grow farther? You know what I'm saying? It's not it's obviously not a bad thing. It's a bad thought, but it's not a bad thing because it puts yourself in a question where it's like, okay, it recenters yourself and you're like, okay, where can I go from here? How can I progress in life? You know what I'm saying? Make this better, make that better. Don't compare yourself to no one. If this person right now today got $1 million, that's not you. That's them. That's their blessing. Wait for yours. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying feeling behind compared to others is normal. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it's normal. I'm just saying that like you gotta think about it's not just that. It's like what did they do that you didn't? You know what I'm saying? You can think about it like that. What did they do that you didn't? You know what I'm saying? And also you gotta stop comparing yourself to everyone else, bro. Literally what I just said. A person got $1 million today. Why would you compare yourself to them? That's their blessing. What did they do to put themselves in that situation? What did you not do to put yourself in your situation for your next blessing? I'm saying you never know when it's gonna come, but you want to be ready for it. Does that make sense? You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying the thought feeling behind compared to others is a bad thought. Right? It is a bad thought because stop comparing yourself to other motherfuckers. But purpose behind it is not bad because then you're, without that thought, you should even be able to retract and see where you're at in your life. I feel like you always have to do that constantly, look at yourself and your surroundings. You know what I'm saying? This is where I wanted to be. This is where I wanted to be, you know what I'm saying, by this time. And I'm not there. What am I doing wrong? You know what I'm saying? Where can I improve in this life? You know what I'm saying? To get that next blessing. You know what I'm saying? And if it doesn't work, it's okay, cool, scrap it. Go back, work again. And everything's not panned out to be perfect. It's going to happen one way or the other. Have your faith and have your trust. And have trust in yourself. You feel me? So you gotta stop feeling behind because, oh, this person's in Jamaica today or he's flying private. Cool, bro. When your time comes, you'll be doing the same thing. Just let it come. Stop rushing shit, bro. Life is not meant to be rushed. It's meant to be taken day by day with your goals and aspirations. Work towards them every day, and that's it. Wait for your blessing. You know what I'm saying? Career timelines, money, and relationships all fall into that. You know what I'm saying? Because you could have feel like you got snubbed for this next job promotion, or you kind of feel like if you're a content creator, let's just say you got snubbed for this amount of money, or this and that. That's cool. You know what I'm saying? That's a hardship. That hardship is going to allow you to be better. Again, that's what I'm saying. You have to always come back within yourself, and like even in times of you know fighting, not only with that could be your parents to your friends and stuff like that. You got to always come back to yourself and feel like, where did I go wrong? Because a lot of the times the problem is just not about them. You know what I'm saying? It's really just you. Where did you go wrong? It is about them, obviously, but where did you go wrong as well? What role did you play? You know what I'm saying? A lot of the times it's like it's probably like 90% their fault or whatever the case is. But what that 10% is you, twin. Catch yourself and be like, where did I go wrong? What was my decision or input into this to make this reaction happen or for this to happen? You know what I'm saying? So whenever you are feeling down about like, oh, why he get a promotion and not me, or why they get picked and not me, cool. Okay, go back and reevaluate. Sometimes it just happens to be, there's a slight percentage and it just happens not to be your fault, but that's okay. That's God protecting you from something down the line. That could be better. That is better. You know what I'm saying? A lot of blessings are in disguise. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with money. Same thing with relationships. Recently I had a talk with G. He'll know he'll know if he listens to this. But we were talking about just stuff in general, and it was like with relationships, it's obviously a lot of ups and downs, right? And it's like if this situation, like this situationship or this or that doesn't happen right now, doesn't obviously mean that like it's never gonna work out. It just means it's not the time for it. You know what I'm saying? Again, blessing in disguise. I think you just gotta start like realizing that and putting yourself into those questions. Because sometimes what we want and what we think we need goes above of what it's supposed to be. In the sense of like what you want and what you think you need is not always what's best for you. And sometimes because it is what you want and need, you're putting that to the side and like, this is what I want, this is what I want right now. But no, God says it's not time. It's cool. Reevaluate, keep going and growing. When our time is there, I promise you, it'll happen. You know what I'm saying? Realizing timelines are fake pressure. What I mean by this is your expectations of yourself, expectations of maybe your brand that you're growing or stuff like that. You have those expectations in those timelines. That's cool, right? But don't feel like if you don't reach that, it's the end of the world, because it's not. You know what I'm saying? Stuff happens. Life gets in the way. Cool. Reevaluate. Keep going. Because you're putting so much pressure onto that thing that you're trying to reach. You're forgetting about everything else. What about the fam? What about your friends? You know what I'm saying? What about you as a person, your mental health? You know what I'm saying? All of that has a plane within yourself as well. You know what I'm saying? So as a human. So fake pressurize in the sense of like, it's okay if it doesn't happen right now. Again, blessing in disguise. God will make that happen. So just let it rock. You know what I'm saying? I cannot stress this enough. My dad has always put this in my mind. It's like one thing he always says, stop rushing things. When it's time, it's time. It will come. That job promotion will come. That money will come. That friendship will come. That relationship will come. It's okay. It's cool. Just work every day for yourself. You know what I'm saying? For yourself and no one but yourself. You know? Comparison is just insecurity with good lighting. You're not late. You're just not on someone else's clock. You know what I'm saying? Because when you look at everything in this life, everything people grinded their asses off to get, everything that, you know, was what you think was meant for you and not for you. You know what I'm saying? You in this life have a time, not have a time clock, but you have your whole life. You have your whole life ahead of you since the day you were born. So you gotta stop comparing yourself to everyone else, because everyone else's realities is not the same as yours. Everyone else's insecurities, right? And everyone else's hardships are not yours. You know what I'm saying? So you have to think that, like, just because this person's right here, or this person's right here, or they're there, just means that, like, they got the best luck or God loves them more. No, you know, everything comes with a price. Everything comes with sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? Stop comparing that, because it's not your time. You're not late. You're just not on someone else's clock, fool. Again, you're not late. You're just not on someone else's clock. Well, their clock got rang. Okay, cool. They got it. They got the relationship. They got the money. They got this. They got that. Wait for yours. Because when you compare that, that's a thief of joy. You're just like, damn, why they got this and I don't. You don't know what that person went through to get that. You don't know what they did. You don't know what they struggled through, how many times they got back up and tried again to get that, you know? So that's from sports, life in general, relationships, friendships, you know what I'm saying? You gotta stop thinking that, like, it's always like that. It's not. There's a lot of behind the scenes that you don't see. You know what I'm saying? It's just a lot of shit you don't see. You know, growth is confusing by nature. You know, growing every single day, mentally, physically, emotionally, it is confusing. It is confusing because you get into these things and these scenarios where it's like, what the hell am I supposed to do? Right? Growth is great because every single day when these things happen and these little single things happen that tick you off, and it's like, damn, maybe back in the day, I would have thought about it like this. But now I know it's not that. And I'm thinking about it like this. That's growth. And it is confusing because every single little block that you grow, you get a hardship. And you're like, fuck. You know what I'm saying? That's okay. You get a roadblock and it's like, I don't maybe know how to think about this, but that's okay. Because you grew. You're not here anymore. When you're here, you would have known what to do. But you're here now. You don't know what to do. You don't have it figured out. Cool. You work at it. You work at it. Tackle the problem head on and you work at it. That's your growth. It is confusing. It is confusing by nature because you don't know what it is. You don't know what's supposed to happen. You've never experienced that before. You know what I'm saying? That's your growth. Feeling lost so often means you're evolving, because it is true. Because if you're never lost, what the fuck are you doing? You're fucking you're stagnant. You're not moving. You know what I'm saying? If you're never feeling lost or this and that, you're not evolving as a person. You know what I'm saying? When things happen, let's say things happen in a relationship. Damn, I don't know how to handle this. You're feeling lost, right? Okay, cool. That means your relationship is taken to the next level. It's moving. You had a bad game. Damn, what the fuck happened? You're evolving as a player. What can I have done better? You know what I'm saying? Okay, my brain's not working right now. Okay. Gotta figure it out. When you figure it out, that's evolving. That's you evolving, not only as a person, but for whatever you're doing in this life. You know what I'm saying? When you're stagnant, you're just standing there making the same mistakes and doing the same shit every single fucking day. You're not moving. You're not constantly trying to better yourself. That's what life's all about. Making those mistakes, taking those chances, might work, might not. Let God handle that. Keep moving. You know what I'm saying? So again, feeling lost so often means you're evolving. It just means you're not stagnant. You're not staying like any other person. Stop trying to be fucking normal. Stay like these motherfuckers. No, stop trying to be normal. Be yourself. Be different. You know what I'm saying? You moving, you feeling lost because you're evolving. That's okay. That's what life is all about. You're evolving. You're taking that brick by brick by brick by brick. You're not thinking this way no more because you evolved. Because whatever the fuck happened made you evolve. You know what I'm saying? So that goes back to growth. You're evolving in your growth. You know what I'm saying? Every single day. As a person, father, as a sister, as an uncle, whatever the case is, you know? Clarity usually comes after movement. That's the truth. You don't got clarity because you stood there. You got clarity because you moved, because you did something about it, because something happened. Clarity by just, you're not going to get that clarity by just standing there and just not moving and growing and evolving. That's what I'm telling y'all. Every single little things that happens in your life, it has a purpose for something. God didn't make that happen for no reason, you know? There's a reason why those things happen. And there's a reason why it happened the way it did, to the context it did, and how long it happened for you to realize, oh, maybe this is supposed to be this way, or maybe it's supposed to be that way. Does that make sense? That goes back into the clarity. The more you grow, the more you evolve. The more you grow, doesn't mean you'll be lost every single time, but the more you'll feel lost because you're evolving. You're growing to that person you want to be. Stop staying stagnant. Some bullshit. Because all these excuses, fuck that. Move every single day. You know what I'm saying? Your 20s are built for that. Your 20s are built for that. Take those opportunities right now. Take those opportunities right now. Not when you're 40, not when you're 30. You have plenty of time. Take those opportunities right now so you're set. Your 20s are meant for you to grow. They're meant for you to fuck up. They're meant for you to explore, to understand, to not understand. You know, just have to put your foot forward every single time and just let God do the rest. You know, confusion is not a crisis. It's a phase of growth. Nobody has life mastered. They don't. Some people just panic more quietly. You're confused. Again, that's all a part of what happens in life. It's a phase of growth. Because you're not understanding what's happening. Why did that happen? That's you evolving, not being at the same place. Nobody has life mastered. They don't. Whoever tells you that bullshit, the people that got all the bread in the world don't have life mastered, bro. They don't. They're not God. But some people just panic more quietly. You know, the way someone is going to react to this is not the same way someone else is going to react to that. So some people just panic more quietly. You know, someone might be confused because of the growth. They might not be doing the same thing, you know, that they're doing every day. That's probably how you'll pick up on it. But some people keep doing the same shit every day, go through it, and still learn. Because again, some people just panic more quietly. You know, it's more of letting that shit go to their head and just letting it happen, you know? I think one of the biggest things about life, it's not just like having all these things figured out and this is how I want this to happen, this is how I want that to happen. That's cool. But it's not always gonna happen like that. Because God doesn't want it to happen like that. You know? God wants it to happen this way. Cool. Maybe it's supposed to happen that way. Cool. You don't know everything. You know what I'm saying? You're not always right. You don't know shit about life, fool. You're still young. I don't know shit about life. I'm talking to you right now. I don't know shit about life. I know enough. I don't know barely, probably. You don't know what the world has out there for you. You don't know what this is supposed to turn out and how that's supposed to play into your life. The people that you meet in your life are either a blessing or a lesson. It's up to them to show you what they are. And once you know, you're like, thank you, God. I understand that. I understand what they are and what they mean to my life. Again, That's through hardship. That's through growth. That's through evolving. And that's through clarity. Everything that's supposed to happen will happen. Everything that's meant to be for you will be meant for you. Don't take those, seasons of doubt and stuff as bad things. They're not. That's you evolving. That's you growing. Be yourself. Move how you want to move. You know what I'm saying? Move to what feels right for you. You know what I'm saying? If something doesn't feel right for you, get out of it. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't feel right. Again, everyone looks like they have life figured out until you talk to them for 5 minutes. You don't even need 10 minutes. You don't need 20 minutes. You don't need to have a whole sit down an hour conversation with a motherfucker to know what they on. It's 5 minutes. You'll really understand what a person's thought process is like and what they kind of have going on and don't have going on. Nobody's gonna have life mastered, bro. It just is what it is. You kind of just gotta go through it how you want to go through it. You know what I'm saying? Have your doubts, have your problems, have your hardships, but you're gonna grow and evolve and eventually flourish. This stuff you see on social media, 90% of it's fake. It's not real. Stay true to yourself. You know what I'm saying? That's you and that's your journey. You know what I'm saying? So stay true to yourself. Like, for real. It just is what it is. Because, again, no one has things figured out. That's okay for you not to have things figured out. Because you're not God. God's going to figure that out for you. Just let it rock. Let it happen. Just keep doing you and never stop being true to yourself. If you feel lost, confused, or unsure, congratulations, guys. You're having a normal human experience. That's what it's all about. It's about moving. It's about loving, not loving, trusting, not trusting, growth, evolving, clarity. That's what life is all about. Not about the cars, not about this, and that. Because you can clearly see that these people have all of that in the world. They're still killing themselves. At the end of the day, as long as you have what you think in your life you need to have to make yourself happy, that's what you need. That's what's meant for you. And everyone else's might look different because we're all different and God made us different. We're all indifferent to help each other. You know what I'm saying? So God made us that way. That's the way we gotta take it. And yeah. Again, nobody knows what they're doing. So stop comparing yourself to people. Thank y'all for joining me today. First solo episode. We're gonna keep with these every once in a while. Stay safe. God bless y'all. See y'all in the next one. Peace.